There's nothing like booting up a new Zelda game for the first time. We all know that experience of wondering what's to go next, and even replaying the games are incredibly fun. There's no doubt that playing the Zelda games are a magical experience. Unless you're like me and don't own most of the Nintendo consoles and have to resort to experiencing these games through YouTube. And while the older games are still amazing, most of the younger players of the series won't play them because they haven't been ported to the newer systems. So today I'm going to list 5 Zelda games that I think deserve an HD remake. And no, I will not be including games that already have been remade in HD. Sorry, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. And without further ado, let's cue the intro and get on with it. For number 5, I picked the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. Whilst this game isn't the most user-friendly, it did have a humongous impact on the gaming world and adventure games as we know it. And I feel like with some updated graphics, a better way to tell the story than just slapping it in the manual, and having an actual leveling system for difficulty, this game could do really well. For number 4, I chose Spirit Tracks for the DS. Spirit Tracks was a really fun adventure. I really liked to see Princess Zelda in this game and be able to spend time with her in the game and see her development. I thought that was really cool. I also really liked the approach they took on Link, where he still had somewhat of a personality, but at the same time, it didn't break the silent approach that we're used to. And don't even get me started on those two relationships. But I feel like the lore was also really good, and while they did have a cartoony style, I think they pulled off a serious topic and message. As for what they can do in the remake, honestly, all they really need is some updated graphics and a better way to control Zelda and the Phantom Armor. One thing they could do is just being able to swap, like switch from Link to Zelda, or they could do multiplayer. For number 3, I chose the Minish Cap. The Minish Cap was a really interesting game. I thought the shrinking mechanic was really cool, and it definitely introduced a lot to the series in terms of lore. As far as what they can do to update the game, really all I think they need is some updated graphics and they'll be good. Of course, there might be some stuff with Capcom that might be preventing them from doing that, but this is just a wish list. For number 2, I chose the Oracle games. Whilst the Oracle games are not at all my favorite by far, I really did like their approach to dungeons. I really enjoy Zelda games that make me think, and Oracle of Ages definitely pulled through on that. As far as what they can do to update the game, they definitely need to update graphics, update soundtrack, all that, but really there wouldn't be that much needed to be done. For number 2, I chose The Legend of Zelda Ancient Stone Tablets. I can go on all day about why I think Ancient Stone Tablets deserves a remake. If you thought games like A Link to the Past were influential, well, this game takes it to a whole nother level. This game introduced a ton of new concepts that were used later on in the Zelda series, like controlling your world with a clock, or renting tools and items. And even voice acting was introduced to the Zelda series in this game. And if Nintendo remakes this game and says it's canon, then that introduces the possibility of 2 spirits of the hero coexisting at the same time. As far as what Nintendo needs to do to update this game, they need to find a better way to use the clock system. One thing they could do is sync the in-game clock to real time, and having certain events only happen at a certain time of day in certain chapters. Again, the graphics could be updated. The style that they used in A Link Between Worlds would work really well. And since we don't play as Link, we play as an avatar, giving the avatar a new, fresh, updated look would also look really well. Wait, you guys thought I was serious? For number 1, I chose The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. A Link to the Past was one of the most influential Zelda games by far. While there was the Triforce in the previous 2 Zelda games, A Link to the Past was the first Zelda game to actually define what the Triforce is. It also defined who Ganon is, and who Zelda is, and who Link is. It also introduced a more linear style of dungeons and gameplay that was kept up until Breath of the Wild. And that's 5 Zelda games that I would like to see return in HD. Keep in mind that these are all just my opinions, y'all are free to disagree. And I would like to know, what games, if any, would you like to see return to the Zelda series in HD? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe, as it really helps me out. And also, before I leave, I would like to say that I talked about a theory video that was supposed to come out last week on my channel. That video is still on the way, I just need a little bit more time to work on it. Well anyways, I'm Mass Majora, and I'll see you guys later.